What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Savvy, and welcome back to the Savvy Show. And in today's episode, we have a familiar SCP on our hands, but a little bit different. This is SCP-166, Teenage Succubus. And I'm saying this is different because I believe this version is different from the last version that I reacted to on the channel a few weeks back. So this one, I believe it's an older version of the previous one, and the last one I did was the newer version. So I hope with this older version, we might see different sides to possibly the mother of this SCP, which was the goddess, and also Dr. Clef, and maybe their relationship and what Dr. Clef might actually be, at least within this storyline. So with that being said, if you guys are excited to dive deep with me within this reaction, please remember to smash that like button if you enjoy it along the way, and also smash that sub button, join the family. Telling you guys, if you love my reaction style and if you love SCP content, this is the best place to be to get your fix of SCP heat. I post every single day for you guys, so I don't want you to miss an upload. And for you to not miss one, hit that bell so you can stay plugged with each and every upload when I drop one. So, you know, with YouTube nowadays, you need to hit that bell to be notified because YouTube won't literally notify you, even if you're subbed. So remember to hit that bell. So with that being said, and without any further ado, let's get this show started. Alrighty, SCP-166, Teenage Succubus. Let's go.
The young woman was sitting on a chair in a room all alone. This is how she had spent most of her days since coming to live at the convent. The convent was located in a remote part of Cornwall,
with the nuns,
in
I
southern
believe.
England. The only people she ever saw were the nuns who looked after her. They were good people, and they had treated her well since her arrival. She had told the abbess of the convent that she wished to repent her sins. She wanted to see a priest in order to make her confession. That morning, the nun bringing her breakfast had told her that today she was going to have a visitor. She had told her that a priest would be coming to see her in order for her to make her confession. She sat in her room waiting patiently for him to arrive. It seemed like an eternity before she eventually heard the door open. One of the nuns stood in the doorway. She turned.
It's actually a real priest. Oh God. Let's see how this goes.
Turned to the priest who was standing behind her. "Here she is, Father," she said. The priest looked at the young woman. Suddenly, he put his hands over his eyes and started shouting, "No, no, get me out of here now!" The nun pulled the priest out of the room. The young woman could still hear him as he left the building. He was crying as though he was agonizing over something or someone. She was worried. What had happened to the priest? Why did he react like that when he saw her? She was thinking about what had gone wrong when she suddenly felt eyes on her. She looked at the window to her room. It was completely covered with men's faces.
Oh my God.
They seemed to be fighting with each other to get a better view of her.
The simp radar is going off on this reaction. Yo, this is crazy. She's making simps out of everyone.
Each one pushing the other out of the way. It seemed like they were clamoring to get closer to her. Welcome back to SCP Exposed. Today we bring you Euclid class subject SCP-166. But before I go on, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you won't miss out on any more SCP stories.
That's a friendly reminder. If you guys haven't subbed to the channel yet, you guys know what to do. You know, just letting you guys know. Sliding that in real quick. So let's keep it pushing.
SCP-166 appears to be a female human, approximately 19 years of age. She is of average height and slender build. Medical and physiological analysis indicates several deviations from baseline human norms, including accelerated hair growth, approximately 20 centimeters per month.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
She has a vulnerability to airborne particulate matter, such as cigarette smoke and aerosols, both of which can induce symptoms similar to an acute asthma attack. As even the lightest clothing tends to cause pressure ulcers or bed sores within 45 minutes of constant wear.
And those powers are going to be tied to, you know, her being something like, you know, Mother Earth. I forgot if it's her herself or her mother, you know. But either way, she's about like being one with nature, so being free, like so clothes and like unnatural like smokes will like obviously harm her because she doesn't really need that from what she represents as a SCP. So that's why it's like that. But it could be different because this is a different version, so we shall see.
She is allowed to go nude for medical purposes. Garments and bed linens are to be made of long staple cotton and should be changed weekly. Due to SCP-166's many health issues, medical evaluations should be carried out at least once per week. Although it seems like she doesn't need human food to survive, she is able to consume it and does willingly.
I wonder if it tastes good to her. You know? Like, I wonder if her taste buds are still the same as like other regular humans and she just doesn't need it to survive. Because it would be interesting if it was like something different, you know?
SCP-166 is noted for her unusual effect upon human males. Upon establishing visual contact with her, 100% of human males tested attempted
Oh
immediate
my
sexual
god.
contact, regardless of their normal sexual orientation. In approximately 70% of these test subjects, the impulse faded after being removed from her presence.
Nice.
In 30% of these cases, however, the desire turned into obsession, resulting in violent attempts to gain access to SCP-166. Class A amnestics were efficacious in 43% of these cases. The remainder required termination.
Termination? It was that bad? That high of a percentage had... Wow. I wonder if it differs from person to person. Like, would it be stronger for people that have a weaker will and that indulges in their urges, or is it just like random? Because there is a percentage where, like, if you remove them, you know, they're good, and there's some that is just like, you know, they do dangerous stuff just to see her. So it would be cool to see, like, why is it the case for one person to another? That'll be just interesting compared to what I've seen already.
Her effect on males causes her no small amount of distress, not least due to her desire to follow a monastic life based on the principles of chastity, poverty, and obedience. For this reason, and others, contact between her and any human male is strictly prohibited. SCP-166 can be kept safely in a minimal security environment. At the moment, she is being housed in a standard Class B suite at Site-17, with the following alterations.
Oh my god.
The adjacent suite has been redesignated into a local observation post.
What are those two doing?
Translucent acrylic panels have been placed in the approach corridor and staging area to prevent direct line of sight into the containment suite from the exterior hallway.
Oh, smart.
Warning signs have been placed throughout the containment area indicating that no male personnel are permitted in the area. Male staff are forbidden from viewing or entering the direct vicinity of SCP-166.
Good.
Violation of this order will result in immediate disciplinary review and possible termination.
How did this dude come in there without seeing her first? So he probably saw in a past, you know, interaction, and he came creeping in. Boy, you better chill out before you get fired or terminated.
At least one female staff member must remain in an adjacent observation room at all times and maintain direct visual observation of SCP-166 through viewing slits or closed-circuit television.
Dude, I bet SCP-054, the water nymph, will become good friends with her. Like, that would be kind of cool because, like, you know, well, at least the water nymph, she was traumatized by males, and with her, you know, she can't even really communicate with males or interact with them whatsoever. So it'll be interesting to see, like, her being her roommate, the water nymph or something, because I'm assuming she's in this section because there's no males, no guys should be here, so she should be around if she's at this site, this SCP site. So,
in order to minimize the risk of accidental exposure, all cameras and windows shall be equipped with translucent filters with at least 50% exclusion of detail. No permanent record shall be kept of any photographic evidence of SCP-166's appearance. Reasonable requests for personal items and modifications to the containment suite may be granted upon approval by a Level 4 or higher authority. To date, she has requested a copy of the Holy Bible, the Douay Reims Challoner revision. This was granted. A Catholic rosary, which was also granted. Access to a Catholic priest for confession, mass, and other sacraments, which was denied.
Yeah, I was like, how are you going to do that?
Magazines, mostly religious in nature. This request has been granted pending a review and approval of contents. A telephone with which to contact the abbess of a convent in Cornwall, England.
A cell phone, really?
Granted. She is to be allowed 1 hour of telephone time a week to this phone number only. SCP-166 is generally content to remain in her quarters as long as she is provided with entertainment in the form of religious materials, books, television, and art supplies. In return for her cooperation in her own confinement, she is to be allowed a 12-hour excursion away from Site-17 to an adjacent uninhabited island, no more than once per month. Limited Release Protocol 19-A is to be observed in these cases, with the added restriction that no male personnel are to be allowed within 500 meters of SCP-166 during transport.
She got it good. Like, off the rip, she got it good, man. Her situation is not a bad one. She's willingly being there. It doesn't seem like they're doing a lot of crazy testing on her, which is great. Honestly, which is good, because I'm saying that because with certain SCPs, you guys already know, like when we saw the water nymph, whereas like she didn't need all those extra testing and she probably wasn't going to harm anything, even if you left her alone. So it's cool to see a SCP that's not harming humans or anything, and they're just leaving it be and just, chillaxing, like, and not going crazy. So it's really nice to get that. It's more refreshing than people just bombarding them with experiments and testing.
And no male personnel are to be allowed on the island during her stay.
That's
The
so cool.
Foundation originally retrieved SCP-166 from a convent in Cornwall, England. According to the nuns, she had originally been delivered to the convent by a person of indistinguishable features.
That's Dr. Clef.
Who claimed that she was the offspring of an elder creature of great power.
That's Dr. Clef.
And provided instructions for her care. All attempts to locate the mother have been unsuccessful to date.
Because she's dead.
SCP-166 was raised by the nuns in a cloistered environment until a young man, Subject A, who sneaked into the convent to visit one of the novices, accidentally caught sight of her. 3 days later, Subject A became violent and attacked the convent, attempting to gain access to SCP-166.
Yeah, that's a prime example of someone that's going a little bit too crazy with infatuation. Because remember, they said if they take you away from this SCP, you go back to normal. And now this guy's just aggressive. I'm assuming he wasn't there all night looking at her, so he came back with a fury, which is kind of sad and stupid because I really want to know, like, why are people just like this way? I'm just assuming it's because they're weak-willed, but it would be cool if they give more evidence and reason for them acting this way, so they can at least try to counterbalance it,
Subject A proceeded to kill one nun and severely injure 3 others before being neutralized by force. A Foundation of consulting with a local priest regarding an unrelated matter heard of the incident and proceeded to the scene. When he too became enamored, the operative immediately cut off contact, placed himself into confinement, and requested a female operative from command to take over the retrieval operation.
Smart.
Agent Beatrice Maddox made contact with the Mother Abbess shortly afterward, negotiating the transfer of SCP-166 to Foundation facilities for containment and research.
Okay.
The following is the text of a letter found in her suite, the origin of which is unknown. Dear daughter, I first met your mother when she was a girl. She had hooves for feet and starlight in her eyes.
This is what I wanted to get into. Let's go.
She was beautiful and natural, and I killed her with my own 2 hands. Eden isn't a place, it's a state of being. They wanted to take us back to it, but I stopped them. I took paradise away from us for a second time. I have never regretted my actions on that day, except one. That when you first met me on that day, you saw your father put a bullet into the head of your mother. I make no excuses, only explanations. I hope you understand why I did what I did. I hope you forgive me.
I took paradise away for a second time. What does he really mean by that? And why did he stop them reaching Eden if it's a state of mind? Why was he so against it? Was the GOC order him to do that, or was it his own, reasons?
I love you. I wish I could have done more for you. The best I could do was leave you in the hands of kind and loving people and hope they would raise you in my place. From what I've seen, they did well. I'm sorry you couldn't stay with them. I'm sorry they brought you to this place. I promise to do my best to make sure your stay here is pleasant. I promise to keep you safe. Happy 16th birthday, honey. It was signed, Your Father. The Foundation personnel have conducted much investigation into the whereabouts of the parents of the subject. To this date, they have been unable to determine any specific information. What do you think of that SCP case?
Interesting indeed. It's cool that they said in this one that he killed her with his own 2 hands, which is, he shot her. I really want to know what he meant by taking it away for a second time, because that is giving me more credence to he might be something unholy. Because there was, the reaction I did, that was a non-animation one about Dr. Clef. It was saying people think that he could be Satan or Adam. That would make more sense if he is Adam. But, this makes it go more on the lines of him maybe being Satan, for him taking away a state of being, not even a place, a state of mind. Like, what was wrong with them doing that, So it's interesting to see different storylines about Dr. Clef. With that being said, that concludes today's reaction. If you guys enjoyed this old version and you guys like the reaction, please remember to smash that like button for me, and also smash the sub button, join the family, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload. And unfortunately, that concludes today's episode. However, I'll catch you guys on the next one. With